Hey there, everybody. I'm here in the Miar store again, Miar Adventures, that's located in downtown Redmond on Redmond Way, actually. And I wanted to take this video to talk about climbing shoes. Now, these are going to be shoes specific for rock climbing. You may be able to see a couple of mountaineering boots up higher. Those are more, again, mountaineering specific, alpine climbing. I'm going to talk about rock climbing and maybe alpine rock climbing as well. So let's just start off. There are three different types of shoes I'm going to talk about. This is the first type of shoe, and this is a beginner style shoe. You can see how it's perfectly flat. The shoe itself is maybe a bit roomier in the toe area. The different parts of the shoes is my example to show you the different parts of the shoe. Right here we have the bottom or the sole of the shoe. This area right here, roughly about right there to the toe, that's known as the toe box. Here we also have the edge, inside edge, outside edge of the toe up front. We have the rand around here, which is all this rubber going around the side. You have the heel, laces, the top of the shoe in here. This part right here is known as the instep, and I suppose this area would be the outstep, however I'm not quite sure. And then a pull tab on the side. So those are just a number of different parts of the shoe. They do have other parts that have other names, but those are the parts that we as climbers really care about. Now, like I said earlier, this is a beginner style shoe, which is very flat. We do have more aggressive type shoes that I'll show you later, which are more advanced style. What you want for this shoe, besides being a beginner climber and getting used to just using your feet on the wall or the rock and working on figuring out the basics of climbing, this shoe could also be used as a full day shoe. Some people like to size them up and wear them with socks for extra comfort. And you can use these all day climbing. The climbing rubber goes up on shoes for a reason, so that way you can use them for crack climbing. These particular shoes would probably be pretty good crack climbers, and they'd be extra comfortable, and you could stand wearing them for quite a while. And so that's a good reason why it's more of a beginner type shoe. Moving on, a more intermediate style shoe. So this shoe, you can see it's still fairly flat, but the laces are more low profile, designed to get a tighter grip around your foot. You can see that the toe is more pointed down towards your big toe. That's because most of the power of your step goes from your big toe, and then you stand up. It still has all the same features as the previous shoe. Maybe it is a bit smaller in size. It's not built as much for comfort, but it's built more for performance. That's the big difference. Two pull tabs on the side because of the heel cup right here. It tends to hold your heel a bit tighter for any sort of heel hooking or when you stand up on the shoe really hard to try to keep it on better. The materials may be a bit different. The rubber is probably the same. It could be maybe more high performance rubber. And then the toe is made more for toe hooking, which is a more advanced climbing move. So this is, again, an intermediate style shoe. Some intermediate style shoes can get more downturn like that, but most of them are usually flat and more. You can stand wearing them for a bit longer, not quite like full-on aggressive shoes. Full-on aggressive shoes are something like this. You can see I actually have another example right here. This is a different brand, but you can see how they, especially in the toe, they're a bit more downturned, and so that can help keep your toe on overhanging rock that's leaning in. It can help find purchase on it more. The toe has a bit more. It has a nice little design. Let's see if, yeah, you can see that nice little La Sportiva design, or in the Scarpa shoe they have their Scarpa logo on there. But that is designed to get more grip when you're doing any sort of bicycling or toe hooking, just to help stay on the wall, because these shoes are meant for very overhanging terrain and bouldering, where it's all about power. The shoes themselves, they tend to be less comfortable than maybe the all-day shoes or the shoes you get up there. And that's because, again, they're built mostly for performance. The all your power of your foot is going straight into the big toe. The heel holds your foot really well because you're going to be doing heel hooking and more advanced techniques. You can see how the inside of the shoe, this instep right here, it doesn't even have rubber on it because it's just designed to really hold your foot well, fitting like a very tight glove. The lacing system is a fast Velcro lacing system. Again, just for ease of staying on, and these shoes just slip on your feet if they're properly sized. They should slip on really, or like it can be like you have to push your foot in, and then it just surrounds your foot and holds it very tight. So that's the idea of what we're going for with these very aggressive shoes. The rubber itself is going to be probably more or less high quality as compared to the beginner shoe from before, or at least they put more work into it. You can even see the bottom of the foot. This is sculpted down, whereas this has less to deal with, and that is again to help keep your foot on those small edges easier, as well as on an overhanging wall to help keep your toe on the holds more. As well as the rubber could be a little bit less thick. Here the rubber is a lot more thicker because these shoes are made as workhorses. They're more burly shoes, designed to take a lot of abuse. Again, when you're starting out climbing, your footwork isn't going to be as good, so it's going to be longer to wear these shoes than to wear these shoes. And the price difference is very big among these shoes. You know, this shoe will run you, or any beginner shoe really, will run you anywhere from $70, maybe even $60 if you can get them on deals too. So let's say $50 to $80 for a standard beginner shoe. Your standard intermediate shoe, I use this one as an example. That's going to run you more like $80 to $120 for a high-end intermediate shoe, and you can climb some real stuff with this. So 80 to 120 or so, 130 perhaps. And then when you get into those aggressive shoes, that's running you more from $140 to $180. Some aggressive shoes can even go into $200. $200 a pair, yeah. So it's important to sort of build your way up on these shoes from the, you know, very low level beginner to the high quality professional style shoes. And they are built for different things. Anyone who has a higher quality shoe will probably have an intermediate or a beginner shoe in their quiver. I know for me, for example, I do a lot of all-around climbing, anywhere from bouldering, and I want my aggressive, tight-fitting, uncomfortable shoes in order to perform to my max, or if I'm doing hard sport routes, I may bring out one of those. I have a more intermediate style shoe if I'm doing longer, harder sport routes, something in the 11 range. Well, I'm doing a lot of pitches, but I want something that helps me perform to my max on there, more or less. Sometimes I may even bring these shoes on a hard multi-pitch, and I can just change in and out of them, or maybe I can just bear it for a while, or take my shoes off at the belay stances. And then I have my, more or less, not this exact shoe, but a more beginner style shoe, or a very comfortable slipper feeling shoe if I'm on a long route and I need to actually change out of my approach shoes to do the climb. A lot of times I also will just end up climbing in my approach shoes. I know some people don't like doing that. Other people, they don't really have a problem with it. Me specifically, I'm okay with climbing with approach shoes because I feel like they are specific climbing shoes, and if I can climb it in my approach shoes and stay more comfortable, then I will, especially on easier routes that are well below my limit, and I can just have fun and enjoy the route all day and be slightly more comfortable in the long run. And then sometimes I will also bring climbing shoes to change into for the harder pitches, or pitches that would be more appropriate to change climbing shoes. Now, I've never really brought multiple pairs of climbing shoes on any climb. Sometimes I just sort of decide which pair I'm going to use, and then I roll with those. But I know some people will, and maybe in the future on harder climbs that perhaps have like 3 or 4 pitches of 5.8 and 1 pitch of 5.12, it'd be worth to bring 2 different pairs of shoes, or 3 or whatever. But I've never had that sort of setup so far. And so, but that's a basic overview of all the climbing shoes. Again, we have beginner, which is $50 to $80. You have the intermediate shoe, which is $80 to like 120, 130. And then you have your fully aggressive shoes that are more of along the lines of $140 to $180. So hope this video helps if you're trying to find your first pair of shoes. There are plenty of them on the market other than these 4 or 5 pairs of shoes that I showed you. If you have any questions about specific shoes to get, or if you have a specific question about a specific shoe, then you can always leave a comment. There are a lot of different shoes on the market, and if you go to places like REI or other stores, then they can help you sort of find the perfect pair of shoe for you. Please visit the Meour Adventures store down here in Redmond. It's a smaller shop, but it has quite a bit of selection if you're looking for any sort of mountaineering gear for sure, or any sort of climbing gear. You can see we have a number of different items behind me right here, as well as a couple different shoes, sleeping bags, backpacks, any backpacking gear, camp stoves, any mountaineering clothing. We have a great clothing selection here. So please come and help support local business, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.